Welcome everybody to the Running Through the Jungle Tuesday edition Pick'em show with your boy Justin Lacey and me, Tim Lyons, both of us from Running Through the Jungle podcast. As you guys know, if you're on YouTube, you see us on Running Through the Jungle. Justin, how's your week going so far, man?
Pretty good, man. I'm actually looking forward to these Thanksgiving slate of games here that we're going to start up here in a minute. Yes, weeks going by so slow, honestly, and it just feels like it's taking so long to get to Thursday, and I'm just like, can we just hurry up and get to football? That's kind of where I'm at right now. So, but yeah, the week's going good. It's going okay. It's just slow moving for me.
Yeah, it's been slow for me. I've been just busy with work. But anyways, welcome everybody again. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you share with your friends. Go on the podcast world and on the the Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that stuff, and go give us a like and subscribe and 5-star ratings and all that stuff. Let's get into it, Justin. It might help if I actually have the damn thing up, huh? So give me 1 second. Let me share my screen. And by the way, we use Bleacher Report for our stuff. So you can get your information over there as well. You can follow along with us if you want. But first game up, let's go. Packers 7-3-1 versus the Detroit Lions 7-4. 1 p.m. Turkey Day game.
Hold up, Tim. Okay, we cannot ignore the obvious. You got a lead.
I do got a lead.
Don't you got the lead? Don't you got a 1-game lead on me now?
You know what? Hold on.
Now.
You're right. Hold on. Let's pause the show. Let me take my lead for a minute. So last week, Justin and I were both tied 57-28. As of today, Justin's 67-32, and I'm 68-31. Justin made the mistake of taking the Bucks over the Rams and the Cardinals over the Jaguars.
Right, that wasn't a mistake too much now.
Well, no, it was pretty damn close. The Jags and the Cardinals game, I was like, man, I told my buddy John Otto, you guys have seen him on Running Through the Jungle before, but I told my boy, he's a diehard Jaguars fan. I told him, I said, if the Jaguars blow this game and lose this game, I will never, ever pick the Jags to win another game for the rest of this season. But anyways, I'm top dog right now. Like I'm the top dog right now. I caught up with Justin last week, and then this week I took the lead. We're doing, but we're doing pretty damn good. Justin was 10-4 last week. I was 11-3. Just so you guys know, some of you, you don't see us picking our Thursday night game, but Justin and I, we text back and forth and pick our games because we know we're not going to have a Thursday show or, have the show before Thursdays. So we actually have that Thursday game in chat. So we always pick it beforehand. So we're doing pretty good. But anyways, Justin, how you feeling that you lost the lead to me for right now?
First of all, it came down to that one game. Okay, because we both started out the gate 0-1. We both didn't anticipate the Bills losing on Thursday night to the Texans. So we already stumbled out of the gate 0-1 together. But then as the afternoon slate of games was kicking off, I was like, man, I'm on a roll. I was cooking with fish grease. I saw that the Colts had lost to the Chiefs, and I had picked the Chiefs to win in the upset fashion. Well, I wouldn't call it an upset, but you know what I mean. It was a good win by them. I know you had split and picked the Colts. We were very few when it came to our splits, and I think that was the determining factor of it.
Right.
But the main stupid decision that I made was picking the Buccaneers against the Rams. And for the reasons I think I had talked about it on the show last time, was that it's like, why do I feel like there's a slip up here for the Rams, even though I can see them winning out? And I just closed my eyes and just fired off that gun and then just shot it off. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just pick the Bucs in the weird upset here, because I thought that Baker Mayfield was good enough to win this game, even if it was on the road. Boy, was that a misfire. And it was a lesson learned that you do not bet against the hot team in football, the hottest quarterback in football. It's short. Upsets can brew anywhere. But I think in this the situation with the Rams playing as good enough football as it has been, yeah, I think that I know where I'm going to just keep it consistent with picking them moving forward, because I'm not running to that situation again with them. And then as far as the Jags and the Cardinals go, that was a good game. And honestly, the Cardinals should have won that game. I think that the decision to throw deep on 4th and 4 when all you needed was a first down just to get a 5-yard hitch route and would have kept the drive going. Jacoby Brissett was doing just good. And for a little bit, I thought that they were going to pull off the win big time. And even when they got the ball back and they forced a field goal with the Jags to start overtime, they got the ball, they went down the field. And I was like, man, first of all, they moving down the field with ease, because even when they went down the field to tie the game with the field goal, it looked like it was easy for them. And so that's why I felt confident in picking that game, because I know what I've seen from Jacoby Brissett and that Cardinals team, and I know what I haven't been seeing from the Jacksonville team, and I still don't feel good about them moving forward, but they have been keeping themselves afloat, and I'm not surprised that they won that game. But I mean, I was bold. I was like, you know what? Let me go and take the backup quarterback in this one. So those are my obvious 2 misfires there, but I still feel good about the direction I went. But at the end of the day, don't bet against the Los Angeles Rams. That team is probably going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. And Matthew Stafford is well on his way of getting the MVP and also potentially getting the 2nd Super Bowl ring to really substantiate a career which kind of like been borderline Hall of Fame at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I made that statement last week that I know it was kind of a bold early statement, but I think the Rams, they just have that defense is looking good. That offense is firing on all cylinders. So but anyways, enough about that.
Now let's get into the game.
Now let's get into it. I didn't want to brag, but Justin said, you know what, Tim, take your credit where credit is due.
Talk your shit, bro. Talk your shit.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. All right, so the 1 p.m. game, Packers 7-3-1, Lions are 7-4. It's a 48.5 over under, a 2.5 point spread. You know what, Justin, I'm gonna let you go ahead and cook on this. This is your classic Thanksgiving game or day game. Who you picking, Packers or Lions?
Well, this is a toss-up for me. This is going to be a great game. I think I'm going to stick with the Lions in this one. Now, both of these 2 teams have already met up earlier in the season, and the Lions, had dropped that one at Green Bay. But I think that the Lions are due up for another win here against the Packers on Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving Day used to be the annual tradition where it's the Lions versus whoever, and everybody is seeing the whoever win. But now the Lions have turned into one of the premier contenders in the NFC, and it's not going to be an easy gauntlet to go through Detroit on Thanksgiving Day with that team and looking the way that they have been. Now, they have some stumbling blocks, too. There's still some questions that go on their defense. Jameis Winston just put up a boatload of yards on them, and they scored a ton of points against the depleted Giants with the depleted Giants offense, looking at the way that it did. But I still think I like the Lions in this spot here. I still don't quite know what I'm getting from the Green Bay Packers, although they pretty much had a dominant defensive performance against the Minnesota Vikings. But the Minnesota Vikings, they're kind of like fool's gold on offense. J.J. McCarthy is not what we've turned out to be, and his little nickname of 9 means that he just has a 9mm, and he just can't shoot. So, with that being said, I feel like that I know these 2 teams somewhat well enough, but I still kind of have my questions, and I still need to see a little bit more down the stretch. And we're reaching that pivotal point where this game can be the scaling point to who's basically going to claim the division, because you still got the Bears, coming up here too. So I think I'm going to go with the Lions with this one here. This is going to be a great game, I feel like. And I just think that we're going to see the Detroit Lions pull off a win here.
Yeah, we're looking at these Thursday games, and usually our chemistry or our formula for Thursday night games is the travel. The team that's traveling has the hardest time winning these games. But I'm looking at some of these games and I'm going, some of that might be true, but some of that might be false. So, but I'm agreeing with you on the Detroit Lions. I think the Detroit Lions, last week they almost slipped up against the Giants, but there was a lot of offense going on and there was no defense going on. I think the Lions have the better offense than the Packers do. Packers have the better defense. So I'm going with the Detroit Lions as well. Next up is the 4:30 game. The Chiefs 6-5, the Cowboys 5-1. It's a 52.5 over under 3.5 point spread. Man, oh man, oh man! I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna lead off this. This is what I'm gonna say is. I don't care if you're an Eagles fan or not, or a Cowboys fan or not, but that game the other night, where the Cowboys were down 21-0 and came back and got the W, man, I was so shocked. I don't know. I'm gonna have a hard time picking the Eagles from this day forward. But anyways, so we're talking about the Chiefs and the Cowboys. Chiefs came back at home and ended up winning that game against the Colts. I just don't that Chiefs. The Chiefs are, they're not that high caliber offense, and I know that they've been dealing with injuries all year. And then you have the Cowboys, Dak Prescott and the boys will push the ball down the field with Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, but their defense is weak. But their defense played pretty damn good against the Eagles and shut them down to score 24 unanswered points. That being said, I think since the Chiefs are traveling to the Cowboys, part of me wants to take the Chiefs because it's the Chiefs. But the way the Cowboys played against the Eagles, even though it was a division opponent, I'm picking the Cowboys in Dallas against the Chiefs. The Chiefs just cannot convince me. They just can't convince me. Their play has not been too good. And I know I said their injuries and everything is taken into effect, but I'm taking the Cowboys. Justin, who you taking?
I first want to acknowledge that the Dallas Cowboys defense have made some miraculous efforts here over the last couple of weeks. They were on pace of being a historically bad defense, just like we know with the Cincinnati Bengals, who we'll talk about here upcoming.
Yeah.
But they acquired Quentin Williams. They traded for Logan Wilson, which that does nothing for me personally. But at the end of the day, it just seemed like that team is rejuvenated and that they're out to prove that they're not giving up on a season. And Dak Prescott is a ferocious leader for them, too, on offense. CeeDee Lamb is coming to his own. We already know what CeeDee Lamb is. I'm sorry. But George Pickens is coming to his own. It seems like that he has gotten better since he's played with the Cowboys versus what he was with the Steelers. With the Steelers, he was always good, but there's something about his game that it felt like that he's hit another gear since he's playing on the opposite side of CeeDee Lamb. Whether if it's just he's not getting double coverage as much, but right. Man, he has a crisper route running kind of like route tree. Mm-hmm. He is still one of the better premier deep threats, and when he beat the DB down the field, and I can't even remember which DB it was for the Eagles, and he was able to contort his body enough to be able to secure that catch. It's like, man, this dude is incredible. And he has great yards after catch abilities to where if he turns on the afterburners, it's hard to catch up with him. And I didn't think that he had that kind of speed before, but man, I see that speed now. But with all that being said, I think I'm going to still go with the Chiefs here. And it's not because I'm giving the Chiefs saying that, oh, they're the Chiefs. It's just because at the end of the day, the Chiefs can still make that opponent piss down their leg. And even though this is in Dallas, the Chiefs are no stranger to five-star type matchups on the road in primetime like this. And I think we're in for a great game here. But I also think that we're in for a game to where we can see another one of those weird grounded out games to where a clutch throw by Patrick Mahomes, like he did to Xavier Worthy down the stretch to beat the Colts in overtime?
Yeah.
I see another one of those type of games unfolding for them. Am I convinced that the Chiefs are like the big dog of the AFC? Not this season, but although we still have the rest of the games to be able to see what they can do. They're third place in the AFC West right now. So no, they still don't impose fear on me like you used to seeing the Chiefs do. But something tells me, man, when number 15 is on the field, you better watch out. And I think the Cowboys, while I appreciate and I really respect what they've done, and they've turned around some things here because they were well on their way of having a losing record with that bad defense. But they've since righted the ship. And look at them now. They're 500. And I think that tie could sneakily help them as they go down the back end stretch of the season. But
It could.
I think I'm gonna lean the Chiefs here. First game we're
Okay.
going to split, which is going to be cool because it can have me give me a chance to be able to get back out in front a little bit here.
Yeah. All right. And and I think not CD Lamb. I think George Pickens. I think he's playing better football also because he actually has a quarterback. He played he played those couple of years in Pittsburgh, and he didn't have a quarterback. Now he's got a quarterback in Dak Prescott. So, but next up is the Thursday night football game, the Turkey night football game. The Bengals 3-8 going into Baltimore once again on a Thursday night game against the Ravens 6-5. It's a 51.5 over under, a 7-point spread. Justin, are you taking our Bengals or are you taking the Ravens?
This is going to be an early spoiler because we still got to be able to do our Running Through the Jungle normal episode. But you know what? I don't care. This is the Tuesday edition of the Pick'em Show, and quite frankly, there's still an analysis to give on this game. I am very excited to see Joe Burrow make his triumphant return. Once again, the Bengals are on the road at Baltimore Thursday night game. In Baltimore, primetime is like a death sentence for the opposing team. And it is going to be really hard for me to pick the Bengals in this spot just because of that very same notion. They have not won a game in primetime at Baltimore in a long time. I think the last win against the Ravens in Baltimore was in 2021, the Bengals Super Bowl season when they swept the Ravens and Steelers. But that was a 1:00 game. That was not a primetime game. That was also Jamar and Joe's coming out party when they basically just showed, hey, we arrived. I want to pick the Bengals. But I know that they're not going to have T. Higgins for this game because he's out with a concussion. They still ain't got a pass rush, really. Trey Henderson's out again. The Baltimore Ravens on defense have gotten a little healthier. They have gotten a little better, but this is going to be a true test because if they think they're going to get the version of what they saw the Bengals from last week and stuff like that, with the bad offense, bad shoulder Joe Flacco, and they think that Joe Burrow's going to be coming off the rust, they're going to be sorely mistaken. I think we might be in for another shootout, kind of like last year on Thanksgiving. Not Thanksgiving. Last year on Thursday night between these two ball clubs. But I think it's also worth noting, Lamar Jackson is probably not been the same, run around, creates plays out of structure kind of guy. But he don't really need to be that. He has Derrick Henry. He has those outlet tight ends. And I think the tight ends are going to be killer for the Bengals in this one because they still can't they can't match up well with any of them. With that being said, give me the Ravens. I think the Bengals do cover the spread. I really do. I think, again, we're in for a fun game, another one. And I think that Joe Burrow is going to show that, look, he ain't giving up on this Bengals team. And they could actually pull off the upset. But I think the safe route for me to go is the Ravens here.
Yeah, it's hard for Cincinnati to travel into Baltimore on Thursday night. It's been that way for many, many moons. My biggest concern is since Joe is coming back, Joe hasn't played since week 2. Joe needs usually some time to warm up and all that stuff. I'm not going to give him as much credit as Justin did. I'm sorry, but I think that the Ravens are going to beat us by at least two touchdowns. I just have that feeling. I don't know with T. Higgins being out, we need a lot of people to step up. We need Tinsley to be out there. Yoshua needs to step up. Charlie Jones, Mike Gesicki needs to step up. Noah Fant,
everybody
needs to step up. And with Joe, this is Joe's first game back since week 2. Man, I'm just not. I feel like this is the game that we're going to get our asses whooped this year. I think this is a game that we're going to just get our asses whooped. But then next matchup that we have against them, I think the Bengals take it. So that being said, I'm taking the Ravens on this Thursday night turkey game. And it's too hard to really go all in on the Bengals with the state of our defense. And then also, like I said, with Joe coming back. But next up, wait a minute, hold on. This is the Black Friday game at 3 p.m. The 8-3 Bears versus the 8-3 Eagles. 44.5 over under, a 7-point game. Wow. 7-point spread. I think that's ballsy. I think that's a big spread for maybe it's just because it's early. I don't know. But that being said, though, Justin, I don't care if you're taking the Eagles or not, Austin Art, and welcome to the show, by the way, buddy. I know you're here. I've seen you making comments. Welcome to the show. But I'm not picking the Eagles. This is the one game, even though it's not a Thursday night game. This is a Friday game. The Bears have been playing some good football. I have zero faith in the Eagles' offense. And even to put that in perspective, man, that Eagles defense did not do what I thought they were going to do against the Cowboys. I think the Bears defense has been playing really good football. They've been making opportunities when they need them. And Caleb Williams is playing good football, even though he's got happy feet. His pocket presence is shit. But I think the Bears are a better team this Friday. I'm taking the Bears over the Eagles. Justin, who are you taking?
Bears have been playing really great football. They've won 7 straight games,
Mm-hmm.
and they're one of the hottest teams in football, along with the New England Patriots, too. Where it's like, yeah, you got to take them seriously as a contender.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where their streak comes to an end for me. And
okay.
I understand what you're saying about the Eagles' offense being really ruckus and really poor. But don't forget, they did just storm out to a 3-score lead over the Cowboys, and then they went cold. But I also am giving credit to the Dallas Cowboys really understanding the Eagles' opponents. That's still a division foe. The Bears, on the other hand, while this is a interconference matchup, I don't think that they're going to be able to handle the championship DNA that this Eagles team possess. I do believe that the Eagles defense is going to get after the pass rush quite a bit. So those creative out of structure plays that Caleb Williams wants to make, I don't think they're going to be always there. I still like the Eagles secondary too, comparatively to most teams. But the only question that you have with the Eagles is just their offense right now. They've been going through this lull for a little while now, and they're going to be in front of their home crowd to be able to make a little bit of a difference. I think that the Eagles do show their championship brass this game to be able to show that, hey, look, don't forget about us. But again, this is not to take away the credit of what the Bears have been, but also a pressure is going to mount on them because the winner of that Detroit Packers game, there's going to probably be some mystique to them where it's like, hey, you're going to be paying attention to that, and you got to figure out how to beat the Super Bowl champions. And say what you will about their team right now, they're still also 8-3. Okay, they're still a good team. So with that being said, man, I think that the Bears, I still buy stock in them moving forward. But I think this is not the team that I believe can take advantage of the pitfalls that the Eagles bring. The Bears defense, while they've been impressive in certain spots, they kind of I think they lead the league in turnovers. They can still be gashed. They can still be had. And the game against the Steelers this past weekend at home for them was really one of those games where it's like, how did you let that Steelers offense put up 28 points on you? It got me thinking that. But and if that can happen with Mason Rudolph at quarterback, I think Jalen Hurts is in for a little bit of a better show for him. But again, at the end of the day, the game still got to be played. But I think I'm going to go with the Eagles here too. So, yeah, that's another game we're splitting the difference here.
Yeah. I just can't. I can't be sold on this Eagles team.
I get you, bro.
Really
I get you.
Like, 1 minute I'm like, okay, they got this. Next minute, what the hell happened? Like, you're playing against one of the, a defense that's been struggling, and then you let 24 unanswered points go by. Your offense does nothing. Your defense does nothing. And I'm just like, I just can't do it. And then with the Bears, though, the Bears had 2 sacks and an interception against Mason Rudolph on Sunday against the Steelers. I think that Bears defense is, I think they're going to come to play. I think the thing is the one thing is this is what I'm going to quickly say, and then we'll go to commercial break. And if you have anything to say after that, but the Bears, and as you guys know, I hate USC. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I hate USC. I'm not a Caleb Williams fan, and I say this all the time. But the Bears are playing great football. Their camaraderie in the locker room, in their coaching is so much. This is just a great thing to see. Like we're seeing with the Patriots. Their team is just clicking. The Bears are just clicking. Even though I don't like how Caleb Williams play, but that team is clicking. And I'm going to give them credit where credit is due. Justin, I know I'm a little crazy, but I'm still taking the Bears.
Oh, no, it's nothing wrong with taking a team that's already won 7 straight games. They're the upstart team this year, and that's okay. And again, along with the New England Patriots, but I'm weighing out experience and understanding what football looks like. This is the time of the year when you start to see playoff football be had and when stuff gets real serious. And they want to get that bad taste out of their mouth. I'm with you if it was literally any other team that they were going against the Chicago Bears, let's say on the NFC side, except for the Eagles in this spot or the other powerhouses of the NFC that we have grown to be accustomed to watching. But the Bears right now, they're playing great football, and I salute and tip my cap on them. And I can be very much wrong and picking the Eagles because at the same time, the Bears can pull off this win. They have the ability to win this game. I do agree with you. This spread is a little bit kind of to me, like 7 points. All right, I think that's a little bit crazy because again, that's out of respect. Both of these teams have the same record. But it's something about championship DNA. It's not one of those things that you can't really measure. You can't really feel it and see it, but you can't really see it, but you can feel it. And it's the eye test that you have to be able to measure with, not just by stats. And that's a real thing. It's why I'm going with the Eagles. It's also why I went with the Chiefs, because I think those are the kind of the things, those proteges to where it's like, all right, there's still some warts on this team, but I do buy into the notion that they can pull off big time wins in this spot here.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a quick commercial break. We will be right back. Oh, never mind. I guess there we go. Welcome back to the Running Through the Jungle Friday, Tuesday night pick'em show with Justin and Tim Lyons from Running Through the Jungle. We've had some games that, you picked them to win, I picked them to lose. So we'll see if there's any separation or not. I guess we'll see. Next up, though, you know what? I don't like
Sunday slate.
This music's awful. There we go.
Sorry, you gotta change up this. While you change up the music here, I'll kind of like ended up like, we enter in the slate of Sunday games. Look, I'm going to be honest, man. To all listeners out there, these are some really kind of rough matchups to watch and kind of analyze and stuff. So we can kind of sprint through a good chunk of these early slate games. I'm sure fans are not going to appreciate. They want to hear our analysis and whatnot that later on that want to watch the show later. But at the end of the day, man. There's going to be some pretty obvious bad games here on this slate of Sunday pick'ems. So, I just want to lead is to state that.
All right, well, let's get into the Sunday games. November 30th, which is my 49th birthday. Happy birthday to myself. But anyways, the 49ers are 8-4 going into Cleveland 3-8. 87 Jiminy Christmas 37.5 over under a 44.5 spread. Justin, I already know who I'm taking on this one. Justin, who are you taking?
Yeah, this is a rematch from the 2023 matchup when PJ Walker actually pulled off the win against the 49ers, the undefeated 49ers in Cleveland, and they gave the 49ers their first loss. The Niners were the best team, but that was a launch point for that Browns team at that year, showing that defense was for real. Well, kind of no different in this spot. The Browns defense 2 years later is still for real. Myles Garrett is on a tear, man. This dude is. I really feel like that this is the season in which he will be elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame off of this season right here. Not saying that he was on a doorstep of it because you can already kind of see it, but man, the guy has how many sacks? And it's not even 12 games or 12 games it was from 13 games. Thru, 18 sacks. I'm fact checking me on that number there for
I am.
anybody that want to do that. But this dude is playing some incredible football right now. And it's only a matter of time before not only that he breaks the single season sack record, still led by Michael Strahan, but he goes so far ahead and sets it up that precedent to the point
18,
where 18.
18
Okay.
sacks. 18 freaking sacks.
And
Woo.
it's only been 12 games that was played. And yet he might get 30 at this rate that he's going. So, man, I just don't know if I really want to buy into the 49ers at this spot here. On the road in Cleveland, the weather's going to probably be trash. And I don't like how Brock Purdy played against the Panthers either. So I think that's also another thing too. If the Panthers can notch 3 interceptions and force a fumble from this on that 49ers offense, what do you think that Browns team is going to do on defense? They're going to be putting them into blenders. That being said, I think I believe in the 49ers to win this game. I think that the Browns have had.
I was getting kind of worried about your take here. I was like, "Where's he going with this?" But all right,
yeah, I think that the Browns are a team that I do not want to see down the stretch. If you're trying to vie for a playoff spot in the AFC and you got to go against that Browns defense, I truly worry when the Bengals have to go against them in Week 18 that they'll have something to play for. I think it's also worth noting that Shedeur Sanders is a different quarterback than Dylan Gabriel, but he's still a rookie, just like Dylan Gabriel, and we still don't know what we're going to get from him. I'm not going to make too much of his Week 1 his first starting performance. But I think that if there is a team that I know that can navigate the waters better when they come through adversity, I think I will probably bet on the 49ers in this spot here. So let me give me the Niners here.
Yeah, I'm going with the 49ers as well. Even though Myles Garrett and the Browns defense is playing fairly well, like we watched last night, Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions that first half.
He was terrible.
It was awful. But they still put points on the board. That's the thing is they still put points on the board. And their defense stepped up when they needed them to step up. And I think that's the same thing you're going to get from the 49ers. Mary Edwards made a comment that said, too bad Bosa and Warner are on the shelf. They'd tear Sanders up. I agree with you. But I think a lot of Browns fans are all hype about Shedeur Sanders. I'm still not sold. You know what? They played against the Las Vegas Raiders. So, I know I'm seeing all this hype online about Shedeur Sanders. Well, he was a 5th-round pick for a reason. That being said, I'm going with the 49ers. Still, I'm going with the 49ers. I still think they're going to be able to put points up on the board, even with, the threat of Myles Garrett in that defense. CMC's been playing fairly well. Ricky Pearsall, he had a couple catches last night. Jennings, I think that's what the other dude's name, or their other wide receiver. He had a couple catches, but I just don't think that the Browns defense is a elite threat. It's not somebody to be scared of. If you're going to be scared of anything from the Browns, his name is Myles Garrett, 18 sacks going into Week 13. That's ridiculous. I see that record being, I think Myles Garrett's going to break that Strahan TJ Watt record, whatever you guys want to call it. But I'm taking the 49ers.
Nice.
Yeah. The next up, the Arizona Cardinals versus the Buccaneers. Cardinals are 3-8, Bucks are 6-5, 44.5 over under. And it's only a 3-point spread. Now let's not forget Baker Mayfield messed up his shoulder on last Sunday against the Rams. So I don't know what the injury report's looking like right now. I'm going to assume that Baker may be out, where he might play. We've seen Baker go out there and play hurt before. So I don't know the quarterback status. But the way the Cardinals played football last week, even though they lost against Jaguars, I'm going to pick the Cardinals to win this game over the Buccaneers. They're playing, they're not playing, they're just playing to win or lose. It's not like they have something on the line. I think their job right now for the rest of the season is to beat teams that, that have to win. And the Buccaneers have to win right now. They have to win or they're going to just fade off into that South and not even make the playoffs. Maybe make the wild card, but with Baker being injured, I'm taking the Cardinals over the Bucks. Justin, who are you taking?
Bucks still have a chance to win this game, even if Baker is hurt his shoulder. But this did just become a hard game to pick because you don't know what the status is of the injury. They also can afford a loss in this spot because the next team that's closest up to them is the Carolina Panthers, who are a sneaky upstart team as well too. But they got a tough matchup against the Rams this week, so we'll get to that here in a moment. But at the same time, I think that the Cardinals, you really have to take notice of how they've been playing football, not even just last week, but the last few weeks. I think that they are okay with resting up Kyler Murray because you know what? He is not needed right now. The Bucks, on the other hand, they're still jockeying for winning that division because if they don't win that division, I don't think that they're going to make the playoffs at all. The NFC South is still one of those divisions to where I'm not sold on any team, probably except for the Bucks. But I also believe that they can afford a loss here in this spot. So their backup is Teddy Bridgewater. If he has to give some snaps out there, I don't like Teddy Bridgewater this day and age in his career. He's not good. Sorry, he's just not. But meanwhile, I do like what I've been seeing from Jacoby Brissett. He's still a capable quarterback that can win you some games when he needs to play some efficient ball, control the clock and all that stuff. He's a really good starting backup quarterback that can come in and save you a few games. And I think that he saves them a game here and keeps their seat. Well, I mean, they're 3-8 too, so they're not really anything they're fighting for, but I think that they make it interesting and win the game. Let me go with the Cards, so I think it's a couple of sweeps here across the board here. Me and you with the Cards. I saw Austin Art in the chat. He's picking the Cards too. So yeah, and I still like the young
and Austin's picking against his Buccaneers team too.
No, how many teams do you got, Austin? Like, Jesus, I thought it was just the Eagles and the Bengals. Like,
he's got 3: Eagles, Buccaneers, and the Bengals.
All right,
but anyway,
anyways, we're moving on. Okay,
you bet. Excuse me. Next up is the Falcons 4-7 versus the 2-9 Jets. Man, 39.5 over under 2.5 point spread. Justin, who you taking?
I hate this game. This is one of those games I was talking about. This is going to be some bad football here. I don't like Kirk Cousins, and I also still don't like the Jets, even though the Jets played hard against the Ravens last week, better than I anticipated. I expected the Jets to get the doors blown off of them.
Bijan played great ball, though, bro.
I know. He did. And, let me go with the Falcons. I'll go with the Falcons. But I think it is worth noting, too. I think the Jets could notch a culture win that can really set the tone for Aaron Glenn moving forward. That he ain't going to be just out after this year. Like, people already expect him to be fired after the year is up. Dude, this is his first season as a head coach, man. He's been dealt a bad hand. This team had to strip down the roster, sold off some of their players and everything. So with that being said, bro, I think that the Jets they can band together and win this game. But I'm not going to pick them to win. I ain't falling for that trap. I also don't want to pick the Falcons neither because they have bit me in the butt so many times this year, but I'll pick them to win this game.
Yeah, I'm picking the Falcons as well. It's just, it's like looking yourself in the mirror and going, man, would you pick yourself to win right now? And that's how I feel about the Jets. The Jets, the Jets are standing in front of the mirror going, man, do you pick us to win? No. But I don't have the same sentiment as you do when it comes to Kirk Cousins. I like Kirk Cousins. I think he's a great dude, great father. Great. He's just a great dude. He's a good quarterback, and he is a good quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. He's a good quarterback. He's getting a little bit long in the tooth. Yeah, you make your mistake. Well, it's time for him. It's time for him to retire. Yes, I'm not gonna say he's washed up, but it is time for him to retire. But with the run game of Bijan.
That's what washed up. Literally, he says time for him to retire.
But I didn't say he was washed up. That's come out of your mouth.
I know, because I said, hey, you got to retire. You ain't Aaron Rodgers level washed up, but you are clearly past your prime to where you might want to hang it up.
Oh no, Aaron Rodgers should have retired last year, anyways. But anyways, I'm picking the Falcons over the Jets. That's all I'm going to say about that. Next up, oh my goodness, Justin, we got the 7-4 Jaguars versus the 1-10 Titans. 42.5 over under, 6.5 point spread. Justin, I have a feeling we're both going to pick the obvious winner, but who are you picking?
I'll be bold, man. I think that this is the Cam Ward is here game. I'm going to pick the Titans in the upset win. Let me do it.
Oh,
Screw
damn.
it. I don't care. I know what everybody wants you to think too, because again, I was thinking about that too. First of all, I hate this game too, by the way. Another one of those 1 o'clock slate of games where it's like, oh, I don't want to bet on both of these teams. But the Titans did show me something against one of the hottest teams in football with Seattle. And they shown that they can keep pace if they just get the right pieces. I think the Jags are primed to be upset again at some point. And I'm not so sure that the Jaguars can hang tough here when they got the Texans chasing them down. And this is still a division foe. And I think Cam Ward is better. He's been playing better football. I don't like their roster, the team. But I think that if there is a spot to where the Titans can gather an upset win and get win number 2 on the year, it could be this one. Give me the Titans, bro. Give me the Titans in the upset victory. Sure, I'm gonna come on here and say too like, sorry guys, I probably shouldn't have bet against the Titans. I'll probably be doing that next week. But for tonight, how I'm feeling, give me Tennessee, man. Give me Cam Ward.
All right, you guys heard it. He's taking Tennessee. I don't know if you drinking over there. You got anything in that cup?
Man, I ain't got no cup, but I am gonna pour me a little glass of bourbon here at some point tonight after I'm done.
Well, so over the last couple of weeks, the Jaguars have been just rough to truly pick. And, if the Jaguars would have lost last week against the Cardinals, I'd be picking the Titans as well, right along with you. But I'm picking the Jaguars over the Titans. The Jaguars are the better team. Of course, Jags haven't been playing like they're the better team, but I'm taking the Jaguars over the Titans. I'm not gonna. I can kind of see this as a trap game, and we like to say that a lot on here. I can see this as a trap. I really can see this as a trap game, especially the way the Jags have been playing. I can see the Titans just winning at home. Winning one for the Gipper, and winning a game, and it would be against the Jaguars. The Jaguars need to keep winning, but I just think the Jaguars pull this off and they get the W. I don't know. Yeah. So I just hate these games. These games are just
that's awful. Why I said, man, we need to spread through them.
Oh,
but we got a good one coming up.
Well, yeah. So next up is the 9-2 Rams versus the 6-6 Panthers. 44.5 over under, 10.5 point spread. This might be, well, no, looks like the Seahawks is a 10.5 point spread. Yeah, this is
the large spreads here.
Yeah, this game and the Seahawks game are the largest spreads of the week so far. The Rams are going into Carolina. We seen what Carolina did last night, and they looked okay. They didn't look great. They had chances to they had 3 chances to take the lead and win that game. And they just couldn't get the touchdowns on the board that first half. Then you got, but you got the 9-2 Rams going into town. And if you think I'm picking the Panthers over the Rams, you're out of your damn mind. Go, it ain't happening. Matt Stafford and them boys are playing great football. They ain't losing this game. I'm picking the Rams over the Panthers. If you guys thought I was going to try convincing myself to pick the Panthers over the Rams, you're damn crazy. Rams all day long. Justin, who the hell are you taking?
Yeah, I learned my lesson. I ain't picking against the Rams neither. But Rams win. I think Panthers cover, potentially. That's the large spread. I do think that Dave Canales got that team in the right direction. But we talk about a Super Bowl contender here. And they're not falling off the snide anytime soon. So, yeah, Rams win, man. They keep it pushing.
All right. Next up, Justin. Let's see here. We got the 2-9 Saints versus the 4-7 Dolphins. 41.5 over under, 6.5 point spread. Justin, I don't even want to waste my time on this game. Who are you taking?
Hey, I'm going to pick the Dolphins here over the Saints. was ready to write off the Dolphins whiles back ago, just because I still don't like what I see from this team. But they at least
Mhm.
have a potent enough offense to be able to put a team away like the Saints. And
Yep.
I think that even though they've sold off a couple of parts on their defense, I think that they're a safe bet here. So give me the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm going with the Dolphins as well. Dolphins have the better team. I'm not a big Tua fan. I never have been a big Tua fan. But they have the better team over the Aints. Taking the Dolphins, of course. Next up, we have the Texans versus the Colts. Texans are 6-5. Colts are coming back and stumbling from that loss last week against the Chiefs. 8-3, 44.5 over under, 4.5 point game. You know what, Justin? I'm gonna go ahead and let you take this one as well first. Justin, who are you taking?
It's still to be determined if CJ Stroud is going to be coming back for this game. I know he was in concussion protocol. He missed last week's game. Davis Mills, he still was capable enough as a starting quarterback to be able to help him be able to get over that win against the Bills there. The Colts, they're coming off of a tough loss, played hard, fought hard against the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that the little bit of the Lou Anarumo, mad scientist Lou against Patrick Mahomes sort of kind of infiltrated a little bit there.
Yeah.
This is a tough game, honestly. I think that for the uncertainty of what I don't know if CJ Stroud is playing, I feel like he is going to play. I can see the Texans winning this game and putting pressure on the Colts, and they're all of a sudden going to be in panic mode that, man, are we going to let this division lead slip away? But just for the safety, I just don't know what I'm getting out of that. I think the safe bet to go is the Indianapolis Colts, even though I get it that they're at home and whatnot under their home crowd over at Lucas Oil. The Texans know how to play in their stadium too. So, but I just feel like that if there's a team, but I still think that, you know what, when it all comes down to it, Jonathan Taylor is going to be the reason why the Colts win this game. And he is going to do what he can to keep pace with Matt Stafford for that MVP award. So, yeah, I think that, give me the Colts. Give me the Colts.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you, but then there's the part of me that's going, man, did you see that defense against Josh Allen?
Oh, I saw.
They ate lunch 8 times. They sacked his ass 8 times. Even though I think the Colts have a better run game than the Bills do, CJ Stroud is going to be back. Is expected to play. Excuse me. He's expected to play this game against the Colts. Man. Part of me wants to go with the Texans to win this game because just because the way their defense is playing. But even though CJ Stroud, he's been kind of struggling this year a little bit too. He's coming back from a concussion. But I think the home team's going to take this. I think this is going to end up being maybe a 3-point game. So I'm taking the Colts. Taking the Colts over the Texans. Justin, next up. I had to think about that. I had to stumble and think real quick. Next up is the Vikings, 4-7. The Seahawks, 8-3, 41.5 over under, 10.5 point spread. I'm not even going to be around the bush about it. The Seahawks are going to beat the ever living shit out of the Vikings. Justin, who are you taking?
I'm not wasting my time on this one either. Seahawks all day. Seahawks all day.
All right. See how easy that was? That was quick and easy and painless.
We moving on.
All right. Next up, man. The Bills 7-4 versus the Steelers 6-5. 47.5 over under, 3.5 point spread. Justin, I already know who I'm taking on this game. And it ain't the Steelers, but who are you taking?
Oh, we both going to take the Bills in this one here. Josh Allen is only had one loss in his career against the Steelers here, and it came in 2021 in week 1 at Orchard Park. It was an ugly, weird game for them, but that was Ben Roethlisberger starting in his final year with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and even then, he didn't even play good that game. Since then, man, Josh Allen's just been on the tear against the Steelers, and even though this game is at Pittsburgh, I'm not concerned with the weather. I get it. The fan base can be very ruckus with the 4:25 late start to the game or whatnot, man. Give me the Bills. I think that the Steelers are going to be in for a world of trouble after this game, that they're going to be like, what the hell are we going to do? because the AFC North they've already lost the division lead. Now they're going to be panicking because now they're going to be like, can we lose the wild card spot?
Right.
So yeah, this is about the time where you start to see that tumbling fall. Okay, so yeah, man. So couldn't the Steelers win this game? The defense will tell me that probably that they can put off. There's always a pathway to lose this game, but I'm not willing to bet against that. I do think that Aaron Rodgers plays better than what we've been seeing before from him. But I think Josh Allen in that build, right. I think that Josh Allen is good enough by himself to be able to carry that offense, to be able to navigate through the waters of defense. And man, we cannot forget about James Cook. James Cook is a damn good running back, man. They have the running game to be able to bully through the Steelers front four. All right. Their pass rush is a whole different topic, but the running game is different. I think the Bills get a win here.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not picking the Steelers to win. I'm picking the Bills to win. That Steelers defense just doesn't have me sold. That offense doesn't have me sold. Yeah, I know they have their bright spots when it comes to the run game. But I think the biggest problem for the Steelers offense is that they don't have a true wide receiver 2. And I think that's what's hurting them the most when it comes to the offense. Defensive wise, man, I'm hearing there's all kinds of drama going on. There's players getting up in Tomlin's face and blaming him for this. These losses that, I'm just not, man. I think they're just falling apart. No, I'm not with them. So
at all.
I'm taking the Bills. Next up is the Raiders versus the Chargers. 41.5 over under, 10-point game. I'm not even going to waste any time on this game. I'm picking the Chargers over the Raiders. And come on, let's be obvious. The Raiders just suck. They're awful.
They're bad.
Pete Carroll needs to go back in retirement. Whatever he needs to do, but it's awful. Justin, who are you taking?
Yeah, I think the Raiders going to ultimately end up with the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, because I just don't see another win on their schedule, and I know that that's a little bit too premature. They could get a sneaky win here and there, but I just no. Yeah, I'm simple. It's simple enough here. The Chargers, I'm not sold on them either, but they do need to win this game, and I do bet that they win that game.
Right. All right. Let's see here. Next game,
the Sunday night game.
Sunday night game, yeah. Broncos 9-2 versus the 3-8 Commanders. 43.5 over under, 6.5 point spread. Justin, who you taking?
I mean, I think it's kind of obvious that we got to take the Broncos here. I get why this was the Sunday night football slot. Jayden Daniels are what the Commanders did last year. The Broncos were a playoff team last year. It's in Washington, but this also could have been a game they could have flexed out. They could have flexed this game out, because this is now not a great game. This is a game that I do fully expect the Broncos to win, go to 10-2, and then secure that division lead a little bit longer, because I think at the end of the day, they're playing themselves in a perfect spot to be able to pretty much win the AFC West before Week 18 comes down. So, yeah, give me the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm taking the Broncos as well. I actually, at the very beginning of the season, I pretty much, I was on board with it was going to be the Broncos to win the AFC West or the Chargers to win the AFC West. And I think a lot of people thought I was crazy because, Patrick Mahomes, being the quarterback he is and the Chiefs having the team that they have. But I'm definitely picking the Broncos over the Commanders. They still don't have Jayden Daniels back. There's been a lot of stuff going on there over in Washington. But yeah, taking the Broncos for sure. But last but not least, the Monday night football game, 2-10 Giants versus the 10-2 Patriots. 46.5 over under, 7-point game. Justin, I'm going to blow the doors off of this one. I'm going with the Giants. I think this is a stop for this win streak. And I'm not saying that just because the Patriots just beat us, but the Giants should have beat the Lions last week. They should have beat the Lions last week. I think the Giants are going to give them an L. It's a classic Giants versus Patriots game. Yeah, the Patriots have the better, quarterback and all that stuff, but the Giants, they have Jackson Dart, who's a rookie this year. He's playing fairly good ball, but I like that Giants defense. So I'm going to say that the Giants are going to put an end to the Patriots winning streak. Justin, I know I'm crazy. Who are you going with, brother?
I don't think you're crazy at all. I think the Patriots are going to have a giant problem, no pun intended. I just don't know if I'm comfortable enough to pick the Giants to go on the road and pull off this upset. Kind of like how I did with the Titans and the Jags. The Titans were at least at home, and I've seen enough evidence to show that they could potentially pull off that win, and I was willing to be bold about that. I don't want to pick the Patriots neither, just because I know what I've been seeing. Even though they got this win streak, they're the hottest team in football with a record of 10-2. But something tells me, man, they're due for a one and done playoff early exit. They might be maybe they secured the number 1 seed, but I can see them going right out, getting bounced out in the first round. And I'm just not all the way sold on them yet to be a Super Bowl caliber contender, but it's a nice turnaround effort of what Mike Vrabel has done for this ball club. But let me go with the Patriots to win this game here. I just don't feel it enough that the Giants have it in them to go on the road and make it a good enough game. I mean, to pull off a good enough win. But I think that they have it in them to make it a good enough game to cover the 7 points, or at least. Like you said, they should have really honestly beat the Lions. They really should have. And if Jameis Winston is starting again, I think he's going to make that team fun to watch again. So.
Yeah, and from what I'm looking right now, I was looking online to see if Jackson Dart was playing because Mary Edwards asked if he was even going to play. That was a good question. I actually didn't even put two and I forgot that he was still out. But I figured, hey, he'd be back by now with being on concussion protocol, whatever. He'd be back, but no. It looks like Jackson Dart is out. So, Jameis Winston's going to be probably making that start.
Yeah, man, and he's been fun to watch. Is why Bengals fans was hoping that the Bengals would have traded for him before they ultimately landed Flacco, because at the very least, he will get your receivers the ball. He will make it fun. Now, will he throw in 3 interceptions? Sure. But he'll at least throw 3 touchdowns and over 400 yards along with it as well. And he caught a 33-yard touchdown pass.
He did.
That was incredible. So, but yeah, I get why you wanted to pick the Giants in this game. But again, I got to go with my gut here and just tell me that, look, man, I think the Patriots will survive and get another win. They're going to prop up the record, the win streak. They're going to hype it up to the moon. But I also think that trouble is going to be lying ahead for this Patriots ball club. Maybe not during the regular season, but during the playoff time, I think that they're going to be in for a world of trouble. Yeah.
All right, everybody. So that wraps up the NFL Pick'em Show. Thank you guys very much. Thank you. I can speak. I swear. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Justin, you got any parting shots or thoughts that you'd like to say before we get out of here?
Be safe during this weekend. If you're going to be out traveling and shopping, Black Friday is coming. I know all the commotion and chaos in a lot of those department stores, or if you're just going to just hang chill and then just order your stuff online, regardless, be safe. Enjoy your time with your family. Happy Thanksgiving to all of those that have been listening to us and our comment section. I know y'all blowing up the comment section there. Yeah, and then just be in for a great game of football on Turkey Day.
Yeah. Thank you guys again. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. Listen, go like and subscribe the Running Through the Jungle podcast. Do that on YouTube, or you can go on all your podcast platforms. Just want to tell everybody happy Thanksgiving. Have a safe Thanksgiving. Like I said earlier, don't be deep frying any turkeys in your house. So don't burn your house down. Enjoy your family. And thanks again, everybody, for watching and listening. Justin, thanks again for at least coming on the show and sharing your wealth of knowledge of football and, putting up with me these all times. I'm thankful for that. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, brother. Everybody take care. Hoo day.